Hiya, Penguin Rockers. I apologize to all of you for the rather insanely lengthy hiatus. To cut a long story short, my father is dying of cancer, and now I'm more concerned about caring for him than I am for keeping up with this vlog. The reason I'm on here is because I was at a comic book convention last weekend, and who did I stumble upon? None other than Brad Jones himself. Now, for those of you who don't know, Brad Jones is an internet personality, primarily known as the Cinema Snob, and something of an idol of mine. I mean, I look up to him. I've admired him for so long. He's actually one of the inspirations for this YouTube channel, believe it or not. And he wasn't announced as a guest on the website, so running into him was a complete surprise. I felt like Alan Grant in Jurassic Park after seeing the Brontosaurus for the first time. But instead of looking at a huge, long-necked quadruped, I'm actually looking at a short-bearded, bald of awesome biped in a White Castle hat. Still, let's not knock it. The results were similar. Anyway, he invited me to the screening he had later that evening of his latest movie, Jesus Bro, a parody of Pureflix films. For those of you unfamiliar, Pureflix is an American film company known for producing Christian-themed films. Noted examples being God's Not Dead, Do You Believe, and the most recent of this year, Unplanned, the first Christian movie to receive an R rating, which is kind of in the same vein, of course, of Deadpool being the first superhero to receive an R rating. It's not really, but for some reason, everyone says it is. Now, Brad Jones is known for watching these movies and riffing at them something terrible. Well deserved, might I add, because despite being a Christian myself, I must admit, these movies are terrible. I've only seen 2 myself, based on the fact that a group from my church goes to see them. Only 2, because that's how many it took for my brain cells to come to their senses and decide that they wanted to live. Like I said before, these movies are terrible. Flat dialogue, flat scenery, flat characters, flat everything. Now, that's not to say I don't like Christian movies, I do. Maybe I'll compile a list of Christian movies that I do like, but for now, I'll just say, not these. Or more to the point, not these types. I have to admit, though, I actually did kind of like Do You Believe? Or more, parts of it. Anyway, Brad Jones and film director Ryan Mitchell decided to put together a film parody of these awful movies, and the result is Jesus Bro. It's a parody in the same vein of Blazing Saddles being a parody of westerns, or Airplane being a parody of disaster films, or Mars Attacks being a parody of 1950s science fiction films. Yes, they're parodies, but the intent is to let them stand good on their own, even without having seen any of the other movies they're parodying. In making Jesus Bro, they did this by making every cliche, every jumble, every stupid thing that makes these movies cringeworthy, and I say for the most part, they succeeded. The story is about a popular internet atheist having a near-death experience and returning to Earth to spread the good news of Jesus to his online followers. Along the way, he also has trials and tribulations, along with other conflicts often associated and found in the universe of Pureflix. I'll be honest with you, it's kind of bad. But it's meant to be, so I can't fault them there. What I mean is that it is just as bad as Pureflix can deliver, which was the intention. I cringed, but I also laughed, which is a step up to Pureflix films. A personal favorite scene of mine is a scene that parodied the one movie I did like, Do You Believe? In the movie, Do You Believe, an atheist portrayed by Sean Astin, who, oddly enough, was also a guest at the con, is eating at a restaurant with his girlfriend, and they see a Christian family praying for their food. It's a typical tradition within the Christian community, but the Sean Astin character cannot stand the sight of it, and goes on a complete and total jumbled rant about it. Now, I've never known an atheist to actually be this judgmental at the sight of a Christian family taking up this ritual, or even myself when I do this. Most times in real life, other people at restaurants just want to eat their food. They don't want to make an issue over your meal. Pureflix, however, makes atheists seem like they are absolutely opposed to everything a Christian values, which really isn't the case on most occasions, if even at all. This is one reason why I really don't like Pureflix, by the way, because of how they try to divide people based on their different sets of belief. I'm a Christian. I have friends who are atheists. But they don't seem to care what I believe. In fact, I can relate to you an amusing anecdote with a friend who didn't know I was a Christian. I'm sitting in church, singing, praying, listening to a sermon, typical Christian stuff, and all the while my phone's blowing up. It said friend trying to contact me. Church ends and I get on my phone to call her back. All the while she's like, I've been trying to get a hold of you all morning. Where were you? And I said, sorry, church just let up. And she's like, whoa, wait a minute. You go to church? To which I say, religiously. Next thing I hear is her cracking up on the phone, and it takes me a while to register what I had just said. But soon I start laughing too. That's what friendship is like, though. We're still friends, too. She doesn't care what I believe in, or is absolutely opposed to what I believe in. Pure Flix would have you think differently. They would have you believe that just because someone is different from you, they are going to argue with you until both of you are the same. Which I feel is what this parody was really trying to get at, all the while trying to convey the message that it isn't really that way. And I say they did a good job on that. By the way, Mr. Jones, if you are watching this, then I give you the honor of making a request. Next time, make a parody of God's Not Dead, but in a role reversal. Instead of an atheist professor trying to force a religious student to denounce his belief, have a religious one try to force an atheist student to renounce his belief. With all the same forcefulness that Kevin Sorbo can provide, but of course. I'm pretty certain there's plenty of material for you to go with. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this entry. I can't really say when I'll be back on again, but please stay tuned. For like our Lord, I shall return, but only God knows when. I'm Mike, and this has been a Penguins Rock production. Oh, and, Jesus, bro.